In this video, we're going to examine this area here, and specifically the idea of stock unit, purchase unit, and up here, display unit. But in order to understand this, we need to go look at the unit of measure screen. So we close this, go to IC support files, unit measure, and we're going to look at two different types. The first is our standard each, or EA1. So what we see when we click properties here is this drop-down menu. We can select various different types of unit of measure. We could select foot, gallon, gross, carton, bucket, etc. Reals, which is one we'll look at in a minute. But for this one, it's just each. And so the unit ID is EA1, description each of 1. And then short description is also the same as unit ID, in this case, EA1. And a factor of 1. So simply all that means is that for EA1, within this unit of EA1, there is only one of whatever we are going to be receiving. So the factor is just 1. Now the factor would make a little more sense when we look at a real 164. So let's go take a look at that. Now here we have a real 164. And the reason we do this is because you may have something like, in this example, we're going to look at is chain, where it is a single reel of chain that we receive. And in this example, it's a do it best reel. We receive a reel of chain, but within that single unit, there are 164 single units. In the example of chain, it's one single reel. We receive 164 feet. So in order for that item on the item screen to be represented correctly, we need to make sure that we have a unit of measure set that reflects that relationship. So here we have the example of the angle valve, and you'll notice that the stock unit, the purchase unit, and the display unit are all EA1. Now the stock unit you also may hear referred to as the selling unit, and essentially what this means is this is how we sell the item, it's how we stock it on our shelf, and it has a direct relationship to the retail price, the cost, and the on hand. So the fact for this item is the stock unit of 1, we have an on hand of 17, means we have 17 of these items out on the shelf, and the retail price for this item is $6.99. The purchase unit is how we purchase this item from our vendor, in this example, Do It Best. Since this purchase unit is EA1, if we have 10 on order, like we do here, when we receive those 10, it'll take our on hand from 17 to 27. When we receive this item as an EA1, it also then affects our last cost and average cost. And that's covered in a separate video where we talk about this section down here with the price and cost and GP percentage. We'll cover a more detailed and thorough example of the stock unit, purchase unit, display unit relationship in a separate video where we talk about a reel of chain, and that's where you'll see the real differences in how this is set up for a more complicated item.